show you that the chickens are walking and they're falling to the ground. So some of them die, and then the other chickens step all over them, right? And so, so how do they keep, what happens when we're in cluttered environments? If you're in an elevator and everybody's sick, what are the odds of you getting sick? They're pretty high unless you got a strong immune system, right? So that's why kids get sick of antibiotics. As I was saying earlier, if it has to go in, if we're gonna put it in our stomach, then guess what else is going into our stomach with that? Everything else that the chicken is eating, or the cow, or the pig, whichever animal, if they're in these type of conditions, we actually have to consume that. Okay. So I think it was last year that it came out. There was a big controversy about pink slime. I don't know if any of you remember that. And so that company actually went into bankruptcy, and now they're suing the news channels that reported this, right? Because we don't have the right to be informed, right? So they're suing them because they're saying that their report caused them to lose profit. Why? Because the schools said, okay, the parents are going to start speaking up, and the parents don't want it. We got to pull this out, so we're not buying it anymore. So who are they going to sell it to if nobody's buying, right? So that's pink slime. I tell people, if you're concerned about pink slime, then you need to be concerned about eating bologna, you need to be concerned about eating sausage, you need pork things, any of those foods that don't look like what an animal part would normally look like, then you don't want to touch it because it's processed and it's going to have something soon. Okay? Alright, so I always get a kick out of this one, the commercials. I don't know how many of you watch commercials, but they always put this good looking guy or this good looking woman, right? And they like here you got, and she's chewing on this hamburger, like you're really gonna get a date with her by buying her a hamburger. I mean, you gotta buy your girlfriend a hamburger. Come on, you're cheap, man. Go take her to a nicer restaurant, right? But they do that. Why? Because that's what attracts people to watch it. And now these messages are going into your brain. Your brain is processing them, and psychologically, they call it subliminally, right? You're being told you need this, you want this is good for you because she's eating it. And look how she's in great shape, right? So as I was saying earlier, right? You're gonna get more fat, more sugar, more salt, more calories. You can't tell how much is in there, unless you make it yourself, And then one of the bigger problems too is, when you go out and eat, most people eat less vegetables. And as David was saying earlier, right? If you go to a restaurant and you try to buy vegetables, and a salad, you get a nice big salad that's going to cost $7 to $20, and you're going to get mostly the lettuce, which didn't cost so much, and then you maybe a few slices of tomatoes, maybe a few slices of cucumbers, and maybe some really fine shredded carrots in there. Right, but for the most part, you're not going to get a lot, right? And so, example, I went to this Chinese restaurant over at Pico Rivera, and I ordered some chow mein, and I told, I wanted the veggie version. So, I didn't look at it; they backed it up, and because I was ordering it to go. And then when I started driving away, and I pulled out to park and eat, I opened it up, and it was mostly spaghetti, or noodles, right? Those spaghetti, they look the same, but And so I was upset, but when I was eating the noodles, I felt like I was eating a bunch of slime with the noodles because they were so saturated with oil or whatever it was. It was very, very saturated. It was horrific. All right, so this is another thing that a lot of people don't realize about calories, right? So the most dangerous calories are calories that come from oil or calories that come from fluids that are not water, because for example, before they used to sell the super size it, right? Now, from my understanding, it's banned. So now they call it large. One of my clients was telling me about this. He went and he didn't realize this, and I got upset with him. I said, "Why are you ordering super size?
Yeah.
Why are you even ordering that to begin with?" He says that the person at McDonald's said, "Well, we don't sell super size no more." They say, "Well, what's that cup right there?" They go, "That's a large." They go, "That's not a large, that's a super size." They go, "No, it's a large." So all they did was change the name. All right, so they get very crafty. Okay, so but this is what 400 calories looks like of oil. This is what 400 calories of beef looks like, and 400 calories of vegetables. So a lot of people, what they don't realize is in the stomach, in the actual stomach lining, there's receptors in there that tell the body that it's full. Right? So if you have all these vegetables in your stomach, well, you're going to feel full. But the thing is, it doesn't have as many calories as if you triple this, right, to get this filled up, you're gonna have 1,200 calories, right? Now imagine what you have to do with oil or liquid calories, right? Is you have to multiply it times 10, so times 400 times 10 is what? 4,000, right? So that's the biggest danger, and a lot of people don't pay attention. You know, they buy these 12-ounce cans or these 16-ounce and 32-ounce cans, or they get that big 1-liter bottle. And some people actually, my brother was one of them actually. He's overweight, and he used to drink the whole liter of soda, and I was like,
And it's cheaper than water.
It's cheaper than water, but it's
that's the amazing part, right?
The thing to keep in mind is the cheaper it is, the worse it is for your health. So this is our childhood epidemic. So I remember that when I was a kid, when I was in elementary, there was always that one little heavyset kid, and everybody would make fun of him. But now it's the other way around. Now they're more heavyset kids, and they're making fun of the skinny kids. They make fun of me to this day now because I'm the skinny one. So it's become interesting that it's become the right thing to be overweight and the wrong thing to be healthy weight, but I'm considered skinny, unhealthy looking.
There was one lady this morning, right? The lady that said she had sex with her boyfriend every day, and she's chubby, and she makes fun of the skinny lady.
All right, so a lot of people say, well, why should I be so concerned about eating meat? And I tell them because the only real source that you can get saturated fat is from meat, and the only real source that you can get bad cholesterol is from meat. You get mostly mono and polyunsaturated fat, which are the healthier fats. Preferably the mono unsaturated fats are the ones you want to get, and those you're going to get like from avocado or nuts, but you won't get them from beef. From beef, you'll get mostly saturated fat. The other exception is like fish. You'll get the omega-3s, omega-6 were a little bit healthier for you. But then again, like I said earlier, if you're going to have fish, make sure it's wild caught. If it's not, then you probably want to not eat it or eat as little as possible, because what ends up happening is that's what a normal artery looks like, and then this is what a clogged up artery looks like. So I don't know how many of you did this when you were kids, or you watched somebody else do it, but you water the garden, and then if you wanted to reduce the amount of water that's coming, you would bend the hose, right? And then you would feel the pressure of the water trying to open up the hose again so the water could come out, right? So it's the same is true about your arteries. So if under normal circumstances, and it's the same about your plumbing system at home, right? If your plumbing system at home is nice and clear, just like your arteries, then and your hose, then the water and everything passes through smoothly, right? But if it's clogged up, then it's just like that hose when you bend it, and all that pressure is building up, and it's trying to move the same amount of blood through the body, through what used to be that artery up there, now through that artery. So what ends up happening, now you start suffering from heart disease, and in some cases, eventually you get high blood pressure. And worst case scenario is this is happening also in your brain, you get a stroke. Okay, so those are reasons why you might want to really consider reducing or eliminating meats from your diet. Okay. All right. So, a lot of people say, well, where do I get my protein from? And actually you can get it from nuts. I don't know if any of you consume chia seeds. You can get it from chia seeds. You can get it from pretty much almost every vegetable. You're just not going to get them in the quantities if you're going to get it from beef, but you're also not going to get you're also not going to take the risk of having higher quantities and getting saturated fat or excess calories, because actually you could chomp away at vegetables all day for the most part, and you're going to be okay. Most vegetables like cucumber, lettuce, spinach, kale, they don't have that many calories. So you can graze, I say graze like a cow all day, and you're not gonna end up looking like a cow. And so it's funny, this little kid, he's holding his milk, right? So obviously he likes he's drinking the source from a cow, and then he's eating his chicken leg there. And one of the other things too is that the cosmetic industry, I say, is one of the biggest successful industries that's hoaxing people into buying something they don't really need, because the reality is, and at least from the Asian standpoint, if you can look at most Asians, they have better clear skin than most other cultures, and that's because most Americans eat real bad diets, and so it shows up in your skin. So I tell people that sometimes if you have a lot of like acne issues or psoriasis issues or any type of skin conditions, you know, that's basically, you know, especially if you have acne, I tell people that's like, you know, you you urinate. That's one way of elimination, right? Also through expiration, when you exhale, you're also eliminating waste. When you're perspiring through your skin, you're eliminating waste. When you're going to number 2, you're eliminating waste from your body, right? Those are and your filtering systems are your liver and your kidneys, right? So if you're eating foods that are high in toxins, then your body's trying to force them out, and it's gonna go through every single pathway possible. So it's gonna show in your skin. So I tell people they're pooping out through your skin all the nasty chemicals. Okay. So if you take care of your diet, then for the most part you won't have to buy cosmetics. Okay. Now the perfect plate, people say, well, what should it look like? And so I say try to have 50% of it to be vegetables. The other 25%, you know, which could be like rice, but not white rice. Stay with brown rice. What's the other one called? Jasmine rice, right? You can lentils, peas, anything that's not, you know. And also keep in mind is try to stay away from, you know, rice that's been fried. Okay, because now they're putting oils in it too, right? And probably not good oils. And in some cases they're putting like MSGs, which are not natural fats. And then try to stick with fish or nuts, and you'll pretty much be okay. All right, so some people say, well, what about vitamin water? And I say, well, make your own vitamin water. You know, you can get your own fruits and infuse them in water. Put it in the refrigerator. Let it soak there for, you know, overnight, and then you're gonna have all those vitamins and nutrients in the water, and you're also gonna have flavor. Like for example, this last night, what I did is I got some figs that I bought from the farmer's market, and I dipped them in my almond milk, and I let them soak. And so what did it do? Because some people, you know, if you go to the store and you buy almond milk, then you're also going to see that one says 40 calories, 60 calories, or 90 calories. What's the difference? Well, if you look at the one that says 90 calories, then most likely has a flavor, and it'll say vanilla. So, but vanilla is not going to add that many calories, so they've also added more sugar in there that wasn't in there naturally. And the same thing with the one that just says it's almond milk. So you got to make sure you go for the one that says unsweetened, because then that means they're not putting sugar in it. So you want to taste sweet, do what I did. I got 3 figs. I dipped them in there, let them soak overnight, and in the morning I drink my almond milk with my figs, and I throw in a little brown rice protein powder in there, and I also soak some chia seeds overnight, so that gives me a little bit more protein. It's also giving me a lot of fiber and a lot of grains. Okay, and I'm also getting fruit at the same time. Some people they'll say, well, what do you think about Gatorade? What do you think about like Powerade and all that stuff? And I say it's nothing but water and chemicals. So you want chemicals, and just go bring some cosmetics, and you're gonna be having the same thing. Okay. And I don't know if you've heard about it. I'm trying to remember the name of there's one that recently came out in the news, and they were saying that it's got fruits and vegetables. It's not vitamin water. It's the other. Company, but Coca-Cola makes them so here.
Naked juice.
Naked juice, yes, they got sued.
Like Pepsi.
Right? They got sued. They lost a lawsuit, and now they're having. If you still have your receipts and you bought naked juice, then you're getting up. It's not a lot of money. You're getting up to 75 cents per bottle. I'm not sure what the actual calculation is, but that's where I say is that they're finally starting to look at our health standards, and they're also starting to finally make them be accountable for what they're putting on the labels. Because the worst part about labels, again, if it says non-fat or it says no MSGs, if they're putting these words in there, they're putting them in there because they put something else in there, and so they're trying. It's a distraction mechanism. That's really what it is. They're trying to distract you from what they've already done to alter it a different way, so that you actually want to keep taking it. And so here's the other part. Is I tell people, they say, I don't got time to exercise. We all got time to exercise. If you make time, even if it's 10 minutes sporadically throughout the day, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes later during lunch hour, 10 minutes in the evening, you've already got 30 minutes of activity. I don't know how many of you are familiar with features, but there's a pretty cool feature that I got that came with the Droid. It's called S-Health. And so what S-Health does is it tracks how many steps you take, and in this case, so for today, so far, And it also says how many calories you burn. That's based on. So far, and this doesn't count because I've been moving around a lot. So I walked more than 6,007 steps. But this is how many I've done. But they say that to stay heart healthy, you gotta walk 10,000 steps. Okay, so probably by now I was moving around. I've been doing probably close to 7,000 steps. Okay, but they're free applications you can download on your phone, and you can find ways to monitor how you're doing in terms of exercise. But today, one of the way I actually get all these steps is when I'm training my clients, I'm moving around a lot. So whether I'm showing them, whether I'm following them around, whether I'm instructing them, that's how I'm getting those. Some of the things I talk about people with exercise is don't try to make it too complicated. Walking is one of the simple things you could do, but you got to do more than that. One of the things that I recommend and most people do is try to do something similar. If not yoga, do something similar, something that requires a lot of range of motion. You can ask David, as I'm making go through a lot of range of motion exercises, right? And why? Because a lot of people stop appreciating motion until they lose it. Okay, it's not until they lose it, they become paralyzed or they've had a stroke. Then now they're traumatized mentally because they can't move. So unfortunately it takes that much, and for some people, unfortunately, that takes them down even lower, and eventually they pass away from that, from not moving. So no matter what age you hit, it's never too late to exercise. There's always something simple you can do. Go for non-impact things. A lot. These gyms that are coming out, they're doing like a lot of jump training type exercise. And if you're not into athletics, there's no reason to be jumping around because the odds are you're not going to have to jump. So there's simple things like grabbing the chair and just doing a couple of squats. You can do like 20, and then maybe an hour later, before you're gonna sit down and watch TV, do another 20, and just do stuff sporadically throughout the day, and you're gonna get your exercise. It's gonna be the same thing. It doesn't have to be all in 1 hour. It can be spread out throughout the day. Well, for some people it's boring. For people like me, it's exciting.
I know it is.
Just
It's boring. I agree. Yeah.
And one of the things that I also do is I do a lot of balance training with my clients. So I'll make them do exercise. They'll say, well, I don't have a lot of balance. I say, well, guess what? I'm making you do it because you need it. And I tell people, even my younger clients, I teach you all these balance things because I don't want you to be that person from that old commercial, right? I fall down, I can't get up. I want you to say I was gonna fall down, but I didn't fall down, right? I did fall down, I did get up. Okay. And so there it is. So you got this lady swinging these kettlebells. That's the Russian style training. So saying age is no excuse, right? And this is at a health expo that I was doing about 3 years ago. And this is a big 40-foot rope that I carry with me, and it's what I use as a non-impact type exercise, cardiovascular exercise. The intensity can go from very low to very high, but if you have, people tell me, well, I have knee issues or I have back issues, that's still not an excuse. You can still move, and even if you don't move, you're gonna get stiff and stale. So find a way to move, right?
What about arthritis?
Arthritis doesn't matter. I mean, you're gonna. I mean, yoga is probably one of the best things, for if you have arthritic joints. But like for example, so going back here, so even if she has arthritis, all she's holding up is her natural body weight, and she's gonna walk. She's gonna have to hold.
What's she holding a rope?
It's a rope. It's a wrap around a pole. Start working like her legs instead of her legs working like her arms. So I don't know how, I didn't even know this had this many slides. One of the other things that's starting to come out that I think is interesting is now they're saying there's a vitamin D deficiency that people are going through. I don't know how true it is, but it seems like every year there's a new hysteria of some deficiency in the diet. And usually when they're talking about deficiency, somebody's trying to push some kind of a product. So if you start hearing about deficiencies, make sure that you're getting blood work that's verifying that, and they're not just telling you you're blood deficient. Because on the blood work, if they're being honest with you, they're going to show you where it says right here, this is your number, and these are the normal ranges, and it's going to say there you're below or above. So it's not a scientific mystery. And here's some simple ones I was talking about too, right? A lot of people, when you sit down, especially here behind a computer, like this all day, right? And so that's, one of the things is, pull your head up, tuck your chin in. One thing I say is maybe sit against the wall. That'll help too. You can see here what she's doing is she's bringing her arms back this way because the shoulder blades open up, they collapse, so this gets elongated, this gets short and tight. So now you see people that are walking like this. And if you don't want to be that old person that's walking like this, then start opening up, start getting yourself to stand tall. And they're very simple things, basic things you can do. Doesn't require any equipment. I use most of Dave's body weight for almost 30 exercises to make him do, right?
Yeah, that's very good.
So he's got no excuse that he can't do the workout on another day that I'm not around.
What's the one there in the bottom?
She's basically what she's doing is she's sitting up against the wall and then she's bringing her arms this way and then opening up. And this is same thing as to try to keep that chest wall open so that you're not like this. So all these exercises are basically to counter, seated position where you're like this. Try to get up and tell people try to roll your spine into the wall and then try to really stick yourself straight and then open up. Okay. All right. Any questions? Did I traumatize you too much?
No. So where do you work up and do all of this?
I'm on the road, so my place is your place.
Oh, you come to different people.
Yeah, he come to you.
And your
He's
body
come to you.
machine. Yeah.
So you come to our residence?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one good thing about it is that he let you use your own body weight instead of go to the gym and do your own motion. So basically what you do is what your body has to encounter every day anyway.
And so I try to do a lot of exercises that are going to counter the things that they're doing. Like, so you're this way all the time. I try to do exercises that are going to make you really stretch open, right? So that you can get, because these muscles get tight from sitting down. So here you're saying short and tight, elongated and weak. Okay, so what's happening on one side is getting short and tight, and the other side is getting elongated and weak.
Yeah, because I do that. I sit at the computer for hours.
Yeah, and I do too, and I drive.
Yeah.
My drives are long sometimes.
Well, I do a lot of driving, but
Yeah, one thing I like about it, he comes to you, so you save yourself a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to meet me at the park, it's up to come meet me out at the park, enjoy the great outdoors. You have all these great parks here in Monterey Park. Some of them are flat, some of them have nice.
Yeah, he let me run up Barnes Park like 10 times. The hill.
Around the park?
No, that hill.
I make them run up the hill with grass. So what happened with your daughter when you first started?
Yeah, before I couldn't run, now I could go up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any other questions, suggestions, thoughts?
you know what,
Can you show us how you cook your drink and?
How I what?
I think maybe next time you could show us like how your recipe about blending the juice and then those drinks.
I have a blender, so for the most part, when I get home, I get fruits and vegetables and I just throw them in this blender. It's called the
business
Ninja.
card?
So you want like a real good quality one, it's the Vitamix, and breaks it up really well. Because a lot of people use juicy machines, and the problem with juicy machines is it keeps all the water
So
and
you're
sugar
working with kids
from
too?
the fruit,
Oh, I see.
but it doesn't leave the fiber in it.
good,
It's
yeah.
the fiber
You
that's
should come
important
to
because
start-
that's what slows
visit
down
us
the
again.
digestion of the sugar, so it doesn't enter the bloodstream as fast. So I blend up my fruits and vegetables and I'll throw nuts in there and also don't chia season. Usually my container's about that big, full of kale, spinach, cantaloupe, depending on what's in season. So I take advantage of these farmer markets. I support these small businesses rather than going to the big supermarkets.
So your office is just
and
around
I get
here.
my
You
fresh
start-
organic fruits and vegetables, wash them at home, and eat them.
What is the
When I get
process?
home, that's usually what I have
Oh,
either
do you
in
have
the
it?
morning or in the evening. And then when I'm out on the road, I'll stop by a restaurant and grab something and try to make it as healthy as I can. Yeah, no problem. I know. Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Good, thank you.
the thing that helped me is having a companion, which is a dog who needed exercise.
Right, a dog that needed exercise?
A dog that needed exercise because he is a pit bull.
Oh,
I'm a foster mother for dogs.
okay.
And I never do big dogs.
Mm.
Well, somebody threw a big dog at me,
Uh-huh.
and I had to learn how to handle him.
Oh,
And that meant walking him.
right.
Because I have little dogs, they're like, fine, no, I'm not going to. But with a big dog, you gotta walk them.
Right, yeah.
And I dreaded going to the doctor this year because
Mhm.
it's been a very stressful year.
Right.
And All my labs were all within normal range. I thought I had gained like 15 pounds. I gained 2. And I was talking to the doctor, and I said, you know what? It was shadow. Because I was walking him.
Right.
Because I hadn't really changed my diet all that much.
Right.
I eat on the run. I don't like the fast food. I try to avoid and do the little things.
Right.
You know, 1 Diet Coke a day as opposed to 7.
Well, I tell people Diet Coke is nothing but chemicals and water.
I know. So and I love it, and I get 1 a day.
Yeah.
That's my limit. That's my thing. But because I was talking to the doctor, I said it was real. I had to go home and thank Shadow because my cholesterol was down.
Good.
All this stuff that she goes, it was walking. It was walking at 5 in the morning because you're right time. I get up early and I walk him.
Get it done early, right?
Get it done early, and we do it at 9 o'clock at night because I get home late, sometimes 10. So right now we're off schedule because I just moved. But yeah, you're right. It made a huge change, and it was a time I spent with the dog. You know, it was just kind of our time.
Good quality time.
It was our quality time. And walking, and we work on it.
Actually, that's what motivated me to get fit again because I couldn't even catch up my daughter. She could run up and down the hill at Barnes Park 2 or 3 times. And then I couldn't catch up with her.
Yeah.
And she's only she's only 4 years old.
Pretty soon you'll have another one to get ahead of you too.
Yeah, no, it's true. Well, and then because for a while there I would just stand there, and then I got off my butt, and when I would let him off leash, I just kept walking, just kept going. And it does, you're right. I sat there and went, God, it's all so true. It all worked.
Yeah, it's not a magical formula.
No, it
It's not
isn't.
a magical formula.
It isn't. It's moving your butt and what's putting into your body. Because this is all stress, Rich. This is all stress.
Yeah.
And I just said, the little that I've been able to do, and this year when the construction's over, you know, but I made teeny-weeny little changes as much as I can because that's the other part, because that creates stress too.
Right.
I'm going to drive myself nuts because, you know, I put on weight or I'm not doing this.
And some people die from stress, you know. The thing is that.
Yeah, I think it's really underrated.
Yeah.
I think stress contributes a lot.
Actually,
I mean,
I agree. I think it's 80%.
Yeah, I do too. Because I've noticed. Last year I cut back on my smoking. I
And
did really well.
and you would try to comfort
This year,
yourself with food.
You know, in
I'm back up.
Chinese medicine, they say that there's our organic illness and then there's a functional illness. And organic means if you go to the doctor, you can actually find that you have a heart issue, right? But when you go through anxiety, they can't find anything on. So they'll say, you know, has anything changed in your life, or you know, do you have a new job, or what's going on? But that can actually cause a heart attack or a stroke too.
Yeah,
but it's functional, but they won't be able to find it in lab tests.
No, I totally agree. Pretty glad these buildings are over. I want my life to go back to. And this clients exercise, they do. You know, the clients love Richard Simmons. We have all of Richard Simmons tapes because it's all music.
Yeah.
And so the clients really get into it. And he's kind of zany and it really holds their attention. And we do a lot of arms of solid wheelchair clients if they have use of their arms. So we'll do that and stuff. I mean, not that anybody's time is about have a good time. They're moving because that population sits a lot. And that's been our big focus over the last year is healthier diets and moving, even if it's walking around the block. Because we know a lot of them go home.
So you want to eat healthy, support farm cuisine, right?
And we would. We're going there next week.
All right.
Good, thank you, Damien.
You're welcome.
Wow, excellent presentation.
As I go eat my